Welcome to the webinar, everyone. Thank you for joining me. It is great to see so many of you here. Now, over the next maybe 15 to 20 minutes, I'll walk you through a practical case study on automated scanning of a batch of documents to a cloud storage, specifically SharePoint Online in this particular case. Here's what I'll be covering. I'll be covering the challenges that businesses face when managing large volumes of documents, how uniFLOW Online simplifies batch scanning and ensures secure cloud storage, a step-by-step look at the workflow from scanning at the device to processing in the cloud, and finally, some key questions, as always, that you can ask your customers to uncover some opportunities. So with all of that, let's dive in with a real-world example to set the scene. Now, just imagine for one moment a growing business drowning in document chaos. This is where our story actually begins. So Renovate Pro consultancy faced mounting challenges as their client base and teams expanded and document volumes skyrocketed. So today we'll see how uniFLOW Online transformed that chaos into control. First, let's understand who Renovate Pro is and why their growth created new challenges for them. So the old process meant repetitive scanning, cluttered scan to email inboxes, and basically frequent errors. Staff wasted a lot of time scrolling through a list of scanned files, which sometimes were even misrouted, creating delays. Storage costs were climbing, and compliance risks were a reality. Now, these weren't just technical headaches, they were business blockers as well. So, burning question is, how did Renovate Pro turn this all around? Let's look at the pain points that these users actually faced. So as Renovate Pro consultancy grew, document scanning and management became increasingly challenging. Now, the increase in documents, basically invoices, contracts, employee records, and much more led to cluttered inboxes and made locating files very time consuming. With this increase in documents, the current scanning process became, as you can imagine, very frustrating. For example, users often had to scan the same type of document, such as invoices for different clients, to the same invoice destination. They requested clearer scan to destination buttons without having to scroll through a long list of scan to profiles to simplify the process and avoid any mistakes. Now, the current method of selecting from a list after pressing the scan button was slow and frequently caused files to be sent to the wrong destination, especially if there were new staff on board. Now, on top of that, growing volumes raised concerns about storage costs, as you can well imagine, in terms of space, as the company moved from sending scans to email to SharePoint Online. So let's look at how Renovate Pro solved these issues using uniFLOW Online and the Canon hardware. So this organization implemented uniFLOW Online with Canon hardware to automate scanning and streamline their scan workflows. The biggest change, well, moving from scattered local storage in terms of inboxes to a centralized cloud storage in SharePoint Online, ensuring documents are secure, accessible from anywhere at any time, and integrated into collaboration tools found with SharePoint Online. To make scanning effortless, they added a second Canon MFD for extra capacity and introduced these clear scan to destination buttons without having users scrolling through a scan profile list. This basically reduced errors and saved time. Automatic document separation and file naming eliminated repetitive tasks, whilst the OCRing made documents searchable for quick retrieval. Now, using IHQC compression helped cut storage costs without compromising on the quality of the scans. Now, this wasn't just a technical upgrade, it delivered a scalable cloud-first solution that supports growth and compliance. Now, let's summarize the benefits of this transformation. So again, the results, as far as I'm concerned, speaks for themselves. Scanning is faster and far less error prone. Documents are stored centrally in SharePoint Online for easy access anytime and anywhere. OCR makes files searchable, so finding information literally takes seconds. Compression reduces storage costs without sacrificing on the quality of the scans. Together, these improvements gave Renovate Pro a scalable cloud-first solution that supports their growth and, importantly, compliance. So next, we'll look at the technology behind the uniFLOW Online scanning. But before that, let's have a quick recap of the three core pillars of uniFLOW Online scanning, which will help you understand the processes involved. So scanning in uniFLOW Online follows what I see as three simple steps in the process. The process starts with easy scanning on the Canon multifunctional device, allowing users to digitize documents securely and also efficiently. Scanned documents are automatically processed in the cloud via uniFLOW Online, enabling quick handling and organization for immediate use. Now, finally, the documents are sent to their destination, whether it be via email, saved to a desktop, in the cloud, or indeed archived in a document management system. Now, this ensures a streamlined and reliable scanning process, as you will see. So let's see how this was implemented in our case study. So scanning with the Canon MFD integrated with uniFLOW Online, as I've reiterated, provides ease of use through a modern user interface with a clear layout for executing scanning processes. Now, the administrator can create simple or indeed advanced scan profiles based on the organization's scanning needs. Now, these profiles can then be made available on the actual device. Authorized users or indeed groups will only have access to the scan profiles that are relevant to their roles. As a result, they can use their scan profiles on any device within the business. So pretty much follow me scanning. Users receive feedback on completed tasks and are notified of errors, if any, during the scan process. So now let's look at how batch scanning actually works. So before scanning, the users insert a blank page between every invoice. So as I mentioned, the scanning process was revamped to automate document separation, creating separate files for each scanned document, saving time and reducing errors. So for example, as you can see on the slide there, let's say they have 10 single page documents or invoices with a blank page between each of them. Basically, we'll create 10 separate documents in the folder destination. Now, the main feature of batch scanning with a blank page has boosted the user productivity and made it much easier to organize and find specific files when required. So let's look at how the folder and file naming actually works. So for example, after selecting the scan to invoices scan profile, the user can choose to scan via the document feeder. And this is relevant because it's batch scanning. The folder location for the SharePoint Online scan workflow is predefined, basically meaning that the user cannot browse for other folders. However, the administrator in a different scenario could actually make folder browsing available to the user, but in this particular case, it was predefined. The user can add or rename the file. And with this scan profile configuration, the workflow was modified for extra flexibility to allow the user to add additional data, or normally metadata, to the file name, making it easy for searching. So let's see how users can enhance the file names. So file names can be enhanced for easy access by adding the relevant information. So you can see on the screen there to the right, the user can modify the username with some specific information if required. So in this case, the user could add a common piece of data for this particular batch of invoices. It could be for consultancy or for a particular customer, basically whatever is required to assist the searching for it in SharePoint Online for further processing. So let's look at the scan settings and the preview options. Now, scan settings can be changed from, say, color to grayscale or from single-sided to double-sided. There are additional settings which can actually help with the quality of the scan. Also, before sending, the user will see a scan preview just to make sure that the scan is complete in terms of all of the information. So let's see what happens after the scan is actually sent. Now, the user is notified on the screen that the scan was sent successfully. The user can, after doing that, select a different profile with to a scan to folder. So, for example, on the screen to the right, you can see that these nice scan buttons, which make it easy for the user to know where the destination is that they want to send a particular type of document. They may choose orders or maybe employee records, etc. So it makes it nice and easy for the user to see on the display. So let's have a look at what happens actually in the cloud. So once documents are scanned, uniFLOW Online takes over with advanced cloud processing. Files are compressed in this particular configuration to save storage space, converted into multiple formats and prepared for long-term retention with PDFA. Now, OCR makes documents searchable, and any metadata entered during the scanning is preserved for quick retrieval later on. Now, this ensures that the scan files aren't just stored, but they are ready for immediate action. Now that processing is complete, now let's take a look at how users can retrieve these files and search for key details within SharePoint Online. So just a quick one here. After processing, users can access their scanned jobs in the designated folder. They can also search using metadata entered during the scan, like invoice numbers and client names, making the retrieval fast and accurate. This capability eliminates wasted time hunting for documents and keeps the workflow moving. So let's have a look at this example. So on the screen, you can see that the batch split has created 10 separate PDF files in the invoices folder in SharePoint Online using the automated naming convention. Just you can see that red box flashing there with those 10 documents that were scanned. So no manual renaming, basically meaning no confusion. Basically it means consistent files names are ready for use. So for businesses handling hundreds of invoices, this automation is a massive game changer. Next, let's see how OCR makes these files searchable by key data points. So in this example on the screen, the user searches, let's say, for an invoice number in SharePoint. Normally this invoice number is often known to the user, or it may be obtained from a customer during an inquiry about obviously paying that invoice. Now the search retrieves the correct invoice along with additional metadata such as the company name and other details. You can see that just to the right of the screen. So we can see the invoice number, you can see the company name, the date, and yes, how much is actually due. So finally, the invoice file appears, which is just to the bottom right there, where the user can open it, showing all the OCR extracted metadata, including that more important invoice number, the company name, and other fields that I've just mentioned. Now, this capability allows staff to resolve queries quickly and accurately without manual searching, improving customer service and operational efficiency. So, with retrieval covered, let's look at the subscriptions that enable these fantastic capabilities. So to deliver these features, uniFLOW Online offers two subscriptions, as we know, CPS and CIP. Now for basic scanning needs, say like sending documents to SharePoint Online with standard PDF options, CPS is a good to go option. However, if you want to add more value through automation and indexing, such as using OCR, maybe barcode recognition and blank page removal, CIP is required. I believe positioning CIP as the option for advanced workflows helps you solve real customer pain points and deliver measurable value. So now let's look at how to uncover these opportunities with the right questions. As you know, with my webinars, I always like to share some questions for you. So basically, great sales conversations, I believe, start with great questions. So focus on uncovering inefficiencies in scanning workflows, document retrieval, and storage management. These questions will help you position uniFLOW Online as a solution that saves your customer time, reduces that manual work, and improves operational efficiencies. Let me give you an example of these 8 practical questions that you could use. I shan't go through all of them, but here are those 8 targeted questions designed to reveal operational challenges and highlight opportunities for uniFLOW Online. They cover areas like the batch scanning, file naming, destination errors, storage concerns, and the onboarding of issues. Now, use these questions to guide discussions towards a CIP-enabled features, such as OCRs I mentioned, and the IHQC for the compression to save storage space. I think these solutions can deliver real business impact for your customers. So finally, let's wrap up with a summary of what we've actually covered today. So I'd like to thank you all for attending today's webinar on automated batch scanning to the cloud. What did we explore? We explored a real-world case study from Renovate Pro Consultancy, highlighting their challenges with document volume, scan destination, errors, and storage limitations. You saw how uniFLOW Online combined the Canon hardware, helped streamline workflows using automatic document separation, file naming, OCR, and IHQC compression, which ensures that the quality of the document is retained. Most importantly, we showed you how scanning to cloud storage transforms document management for a growing business. Now, for those of you wondering what is coming next, let's just say that the next session takes automation even further. So stick around for that one. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for joining, and see you at the next one.